So we just saw In the Heights, the film of the same name Broadway play, written, directed by Lin-Manuel Miranda, who also is Hamilton fame.
Was he not in the Heights?
He starred in it too.
Okay,
he was the star in it too. But they made a film adaptation of it, and he is the writer and part of the writers. He's
the music composer,
executive producer,
the director was actually the guy who directed Crazy Rich Asians.
I know I just confused probably every single person watching, but he's also in the movie, stars in the movie, sort of guest stars.
He's in the movie.
Yeah. In the Heights, it's a 2.5 hour long movie.
2 hour and 20 minutes.
2 hour and 23 minutes. Previews, you're gonna be in the theater for 2:30.
You're gonna be in there a while.
I don't know what you thought about this movie, but I want you to go first because I know you're the Rotten Tomatoes 90. It's sitting currently at a 97%.
I don't know where it's at.
It's at 97. I just
looked.
Looked.
Is it still okay?
It's
still
at
there?
97%.
Okay.
It was at 98 this morning, but it has dropped dramatically in 12 hours to 97.
Oof.
And
it's
also
a rough one.
It's also streaming on HBO Max. I don't advise you to go watch it on HBO Max. Watch it in the theater.
Yeah. I could see maybe if like the theater production was streaming on HBO Max, that would maybe make a little bit more sense to stream. But
yes,
with the scope of this one, it would probably work better on the big screen. I would like to think so. What do we think? With musicals, I don't know that much about musicals. I'm always like on the Team La La Land musical. That's like my favorite musical, and I know a lot of people that are like musical heads that are like, that is not how musicals are done. And I'm like, I don't know. To me, it kind of sort of transcended the idea of the musical. So I go into a lot of musicals, not always sort of feeling like off put by the stuff that's happening to me, and it usually takes me a little bit of time to warm up. Whenever you got a movie that's so long and grand in scale like this, it may take just maybe a little bit longer than a movie that was maybe 2 hours. But I think that once it gets its footing down, maybe about 40 to 45 minutes, which may seem like long, but
it's really not.
For a 2 hour and 20 minute movie, like 45 minutes in the movie isn't that long. So you get to that point, I think it starts to flow a lot better, because early on you start to wonder, or I start to wonder, I was like, how am I going to make it through this? Like, they're just going to sing everything. But then it establishes the characters like pretty well, and you know exactly who the main character is and who the next main character is and who some of the supporting pieces are. Where some of the supporting pieces, I will say, like one of the biggest negatives to me, and it's very biased, negative, is that Stephanie Beatrice from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Like, she's so underused in the movie. She's literally just there for like funny reaction shots and like saying like funny stuff with like a high voice. You may know her. She may have like sang like a couple lines, but she's not in the movie that much. I was like, oh man, but it's
biased.
It really doesn't. It doesn't like tarnish the movie.
Biased.
You're just like, oh, I think she's so talented. But yeah, so obviously when you got a musical like this, the choreography is gonna have to be good. And it is.
And it was.
The editing is going to have to be good. It's very good. It's going to have to look good. It looks very good. The stamina, which it's not quite as like impressive as if they were doing it on Broadway. Like the stamina compared to like this and Hamilton, and I'd even throw like Cats in there. The stamina of like the performers has to be like extravagant. In a movie, you get to have multiple takes, but still pretty impressive on that sort of level. And I think all the actors are really good.
It's always impressive to me with a musical, especially on a Broadway scale. And of course, there's always this movie is always going to get comparisons to Hamilton. It's always going to.
Even though it came first.
Even though it came first, it did come first.
Yeah.
That's Miranda's peak. Is Hamilton, even though technically he hasn't done anything since Hamilton.
Yeah, I mean, he may do something better.
He may do something
Some
better.
people may say Moana. This is peak.
But it's always going to be compared to Hamilton. We haven't seen a theatrical film version of Hamilton. So just based on the play version, there's always something going on stage in a play.
Yeah.
But in a movie, you have to take what the ensemble of 12 or 13, possibly 20 people tops, and in this movie and in any musical, you have to get hundreds of people.
Well, yeah,
like
tons
the
of
first
extras.
scene, 100 people is doing the same thing in this street, and to me, that's more impressive than a Broadway play. I'm sorry. I don't care what anybody says. That is so impressive to me that you can get close to this many people in one space doing the same thing in sync with each other, no flaws, in one take straight.
Sure, yeah.
Sorry, it's impressive to me.
You know, it is a little bit of movie magic, but it's still very, very impressive. I'm not sure if I would agree that it's more impressive than people on an actual stage doing it in front of you.
I'll tell you why. Let's hear it.
Let's hear it.
Because, like I said, it's a scale thing. It's a scale thing. That, and not to mention the fact that these people are doing this repeatedly every single day. It's not just one take and done on a stage. These people are doing this 4, 5, 6, 7, 20 takes in order to get it right on any given day. Sorry. It's impressive. But anyway, what I was going to say was, I love this movie. I love this movie from start to finish. I was never bored of this movie. I love the Easter eggs that are thrown in. I don't want to spoil them because they're really good. If you know what they are, they're really good. And some of the people that show up, it's really good. There's just one flaw. There's one flaw with this movie for me, and it's in the trailer. So I don't think it's a spoiler if it's in the trailer. Is that a rule? Is that a rule?
No.
Okay.
If it's in the trailer, it's fair game.
It's the scene where they're on the side of the building. That is the only flaw that I have, and here's the reason why. Here's the flaw I have with it. Is the fact that they make this. There's multiple parts of the movie where it's made out to be a dream sequence, which is fine. You know, that's cool. It happens. Or when she's running through the streets and the fabric and all that, which is also in the trailer. Right. Yeah. That's all a dream sequence. In this movie,
it's a daydream sequence,
right, but it's
not
a dream sequence. But you know what I mean?
It's her imagining.
Right, it's an imagination sequence. This kid notices them dancing on the building outside, and it breaks the illusion of the dream sequence. And to me, the movie was very grounded until then. That's the only flaw. That's the only flaw I have.
That's fun. Actually,
you
know what? That's funny.
That's the only flaw I have.
It's funny that you mentioned that because this was probably gonna be something I was gonna bring up way later. But that scene was actually like my favorite scene in the movie.
No, it's a great scene. No, it's wonderful.
And I'm gonna tell you what we were talking about Lin-Manuel Miranda, and we were saying that Hamilton is his peak. And personally, I don't think I like Hamilton as much as maybe some other people, but there I was, 2 days later, still listening to some of those songs.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to be the case with this movie. I think that there's maybe 2 songs in this movie that I'm like, you know what, those were really good. And one of those songs was that scene. I don't know what it was. That song, I think that song, it felt, I don't know, it felt more emotionally resonant, even though it's not even like a romance that I was necessarily all that invested in. I just thought that scene, it reminded me of a scene from La La Land. It reminded me of a scene from Shape of Water. It just
sure.
See, I wasn't so taken in by the groundedness of the movie because to me, I never felt grounded because people are always singing off their.
I mean, that's not what I mean.
So I know what you mean, but I can accept.
Grounded in some sort of reality that I know people aren't going to break out in song.
I can accept a scene like that because it was done so well. That scene had the best cinematography of any scene. I thought it had one shot particularly that I'm like, if this gets nominated for an Oscar, it'll probably be because of that shot. It's like a really it's at the very end of the scene, and it's just it shows the skyline and a bridge, and that is really, really, and the song itself, which is sort of like a callback to a song earlier in the movie, which it was the first song in the movie. I was like, you know what, I like this song because it was the same melody, and it was the song. I don't remember characters' names that well. There's so many, but the girl who was living in California and comes back and she's singing about that, her troubles. And I was like, yeah, this song, I like this song. But I think a lot of the songs, while obviously well done, and they flow really well and keep the momentum of the movie going, they're not songs that I would probably go back and listen to. And that's ultimately going to be my biggest issue with the movie, is that I had a hard time getting emotionally invested in this movie because I know this is hard to ask of a musical, but there were times where I was like, I wish that they would just say what they're feeling instead of singing what they're feeling. Which, whenever that happens, you know that you're not that invested in the songs or the emotion. And it's not like any of it sucks. It's all very well done.
Very well done.
And it's not even close to being a bad movie. It's an excellent movie. But when you can't find yourself grasping to the songs that well, it's hard to get invested in the emotion in the movie. Because there's moments in the movie that definitely should be emotional, and for a lot of people they will be.
Mm-hmm. But especially people that are really big fans of this play, and there are people who are huge fans of this play.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a grand moment, maybe I think maybe towards the end of the second act, that's supposed to be the biggest emotional moment of the movie. And I just had, while it's all well done, and there is also sort of like a fantastical moment during that one. I had a hard time feeling emotion for that. I had a very difficult time, and that sucks that I couldn't get that, because I know that a lot of other people will, and I can't discredit anybody for feeling what they feel during this movie.
It's a valid opinion. It's a valid opinion. I'll stay there with you on that. I'm not going to undercut you, and I don't think anybody would undercut you.
That will ultimately be that has to be my biggest flaw with the movie, is that whenever
too much singing, not enough dialogue.
You know what? It's not even necessarily that, because I can handle a lot of singing, but a lot of the songs sort of run together. I think that's why I like the one song, because it was a lot more mellow, and it felt not as Hamilton like. I want to compare everything to Hamilton, but this came first. So I'm like, Hamilton kind of ripped off sort of like the rap lines from this. But I think if the songs would have pulled me in a little bit more, I wouldn't have minded if they said their emotions through songs more. But as is, the songs, I'm like, yeah, they're pretty good. But when you can't get that invested in it, in the emotion, it leaves you like, you know what, that was pretty good. I'm not sure if I'd ever watch it again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's. I feel that way about most movies that I watch. Like if it wasn't for A Quiet Place being so short and being probably streaming within 20 days, I probably wouldn't watch that again. But it's an easy movie to watch, and my parents like the movie. This is a movie that my parents would hate. Like if you're not cool with people just breaking out in songs, like, this isn't going to be for you. But people being like us, have objective viewers, we have to be able to watch stuff like this. And some of it's going to be good, and some of it's going to be bad, and this is one of those things that's good. So I can understand somebody not liking it. I can understand someone thinking that this was the best thing that they've seen this year. It's just one of those movies.
Well, so let's go ahead and tell you, this is the second best movie I've seen this year. Quiet Place is still number one, no question. I will say this much: the pool scene is the best scene in the whole film. It is
refresh
the 96,000, 96 or 98. It's 96, right? It's 96.
Okay, that was a great
that
scene.
Song.
Yeah, that was great.
Where they're at the pool.
That was great.
With the lottery numbers.
Yeah,
that's not a spoiler either.
No, that was great.
That is the best all around number in the movie. It's the most elaborate. It goes on for a good solid 12 minutes anyway.
You think?
Yeah, dude. That scene goes and goes and goes.
I think movie time can be tricky. I bet it wasn't 12 minutes. I bet it was like 7 or 8 minutes.
It felt like it, though.
Yeah.
But I wasn't bored. I wasn't bored during it, ever.
I don't think I was ever bored either.
You're never bored during this movie, which is a good thing.
I think early on, I was like, am I going to get bored during this? And then, like I said, it gets to that
faith.
It gets to that point where I'm like, no, like I like the characters enough, and I am invested to see where they end up, even though we kind of know. We kind of know what's going to happen. Like at the end of the day, this is a super feel-good movie. I find this movie to be like electric with positivity. Like,
yeah,
and that's something that you absolutely cannot discredit. I think
cultural significance.
Oh yeah, the cultural significance is through the roof also. Yep. But
definitely a movie that there's going to be some people that are never ever going to watch it, and I'm glad they don't.
It is what it is. A lot of people aren't going to watch it just because it's a musical. A lot of people.
No.
I know that, but there will be multiple reasons for why people don't watch it, and they're all going to be stupid, pretty stupid reasons. Because movies,
I ain't gonna sit through no 2.5-hour musical.
Movies of any type, movies of any genre.
If it ain't got Conway Twitty in it,
literally any movie of any genre can be good.
Yeah,
and I think like
even some really horrible movies can be good.
I mean, for different reasons.
Different reasons.
But yeah, it was good. It was good. It just, to me, I'm looking at that 2 hour and 20 minute runtime. While I said that I was never bored, I'm not sure if it earned a 2 hour and 20 minute. I think it should have been 2 hours, because I can think of two numbers in particular could have been cut, and one of them is a Lin-Manuel Miranda number. It should have been cut. It had no significance in the movie at all.
Oh,
should have been cut. I know.
That was literally just to get.
I know they did a little nod to something there, but
that was just just to get them to.
Honestly, man, you could have cut Lin-Manuel Miranda out of the movie completely.
You could have.
I understand for people that are like obsessed with Hamilton, they're like, oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
But then he shows up like 3 or 4 times, and it's like, it's like we get it. Like you're here, you're present.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Cutting a few numbers, but at the same time, the movie is not a movie that you're going to probably watch more than once, unless you are a huge musical fan or you are a huge Lin-Manuel Miranda fan.
I can't imagine watching this another time, because I get whenever I watch a long musical, I get musical stamina. Not musical stamina. I get
fatigue.
I get fatigue and restlessness. Fatigue. Like I felt it especially during Mary Poppins Returns, which is really nowhere close to as good as this. But whenever there's so much music, I start to get really restless. And I'm like, oh man, I'm not tired. I'm just like, man, these songs are wearing me out. Like there's just so much going on.
It's literally like it's like a 2.5 hour concert, pretty much. Is
basically.
And if you don't, and the thing about a 2.5 hour concert is, if you don't know the songs and you are not a huge mega fan, you start to feel fatigued.
You do. I feel that way at almost any concert. Like I went to a Red Hot Chili Peppers concert in like an hour, and I was like, wrap it up, guys. Let's wrap this up.
While everybody else,
like you played Californication, that was awesome, but come on, like now you're playing Ethiopia, and this song sucks. But none of these songs suck.
No.
I'll even go back. I'll even go on Spotify and listen to a couple of these songs. The songs that I said, maybe even that Pool song, because I think a few of them were really good. But as is, it was good. I didn't think it was great. For me, it wasn't great. For some people, it will be great. I just the emotion has got it. The emotion has got to be there for me to call something just great or a masterpiece. But this is my final words. I'm going to let you speak because we've been going for a little while now.
Score.
I'm going to give this a B+. Thought it was definitely above average. Like pretty impressive too.
I'm honestly going to give it a A-. And the reason why I'm going to give it an A- is because it's beautifully shot. You are never bored watching it. Even if you're not a huge fan of musicals and you only watch it once, it's worth a watch. I mean, it's worth a watch. And for the scope and what it is, and the fact that they pulled off a 2.5 hour musical and it was never bored. It ain't Cats, folks. Release the butthole cut.
With that being said, I enjoyed the time that we watched Cats in theater. I think Cats has better songs than this movie.
We never watched Cats in theaters.
In the theater.
Oh, in the theater.
In the theater.
I thought you said
no. We watched the live performance of Cats by a local team,
and I thought the Southern Coalition for the Arts, and it was really good.
And there were songs while I was watching Cats, I really like this song a lot. And in this, I'm like,
but were they jellicle?
Obviously, like this has way more narrative heft than Cats.
Yeah,
and it's still pretty thin narratively, but there's just enough, I think. So yeah. You liked it more than me? I give it a B+. Yeah. But yeah, that's our thoughts on In the Heights. Have you seen it? Let us know what you thought in the comment section below. Hit that subscribe button, and thank you for watching.